Hello, everyone, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast. So, for today, I do have a special guest, as every time we come on podcasting. Today, I have David Petrovay. So, let's welcome David and let's make that simple question that I do every time and make them feel, oh, let's welcome David Petrovay. Thank you so much and welcome, David. I'm so grateful for your presence today with me.
Well, thank you for having me as a guest, Yola.
You're welcome, more than welcome. I'm so excited once again. I'm always excited because I believe in each entrepreneur that comes to our podcast and have a conversation with me is to empower other people, is to send a simple message that sometimes different ways people will receive in different ways, right? But before we go into to your business and everything, could you tell me where are you talking from?
So I am located in Bend, Oregon, which is on the western side of the United States,
Oh,
almost to the top of the country.
wow, that's different. What time is there?
It
Because
is 9:31 in the morning here.
okay, because the other day I discovered that some areas in US you have different timetables, like you are in some place is 2 a.m. and the other one is 9 o'clock in the morning or midnight. I don't know. I was like, wow, such a big country. That's why, right?
So we primarily have four time zones. If you don't count Hawaii, then
Wow.
that adds another one. And then I think there are parts of Alaska that may fall into different time zones otherwise. And the crazy thing about living in the United States is that we have the daylight savings time, or daylight saving time, that's the correct term. And then we just have standard time, but they
Uh,
don't all occur at the same time in the country. Some
uh,
states don't change their times at all, the others
really?
do. You could be in the same state with two different time zones.
Are you real? Wow, I didn't know that because we do the time zones change as well. We're gonna change now in November, end of
Yes.
November, no, end of October. Wow, living in the same country and then I would be confused. But you get used to, right? So it's
No, we were
something
confused.
that interesting. So I will definitely get confused as well.
Yes. Again,
Oh,
in all the 70 some years I've lived in this country with the change in time, Yola, I'm still figuring it out. But the good news is they are looking to change that
okay.
to where
I
we will,
read something. Yeah.
yes, where we will only be, the whole country will be in the current time zone situation.
Oh, that's really good. It's going to be a big change, which is making people confused again, but they will settle after a while.
Yes.
And a curiosity now, have you been on the four time zones already? Like in the US, have you traveled to the different time zones?
Yes. So I was born in the Eastern time zone, and
Oh,
now I live in what's called Pacific, which is the Western time zone. So there's a 3 hour difference, and that never changes even when the clocks change. So right now it is a little after 12:30 in the afternoon on the East Coast.
wow. Okay, never mind. Let's go. Let's go because I'm getting confused here. But let's move on because I'm really getting confused now. Thinking about all these time zones. So, in David, in 3 words, could you tell me, describe yourself?
Easiest 3 words would be coach, author, speaker.
Okay, good. And qualities?
Oh, creative,
Uh,
inquisitive,
oh,
ever growing, and expanding.
wow, that's awesome. I love it. Thank you so much. Instead of three, today we had six, you see? Now I'm
Mhm.
going to be tricky question, but it was interesting. But you said you're a coach, entrepreneur. Start like you said. No, you said
Coach, author,
coach,
speaker.
Yes. So let's talk about each of the subjects.
All right.
What do you exactly do?
So, my area of expertise is career coaching.
Hmm,
So, I work primarily with passionate professionals who are looking to live their purpose, Yola.
that's beautiful. It's essential, you know, for life. It's essential that people really know exactly what is their purpose. And
Mhm.
why did you choose this topic? Why career coach and why this kind of people?
Well, it's interesting because if people look back as to what initiated their interest in doing a certain type of work, I remember as a child, for some reason, I always had an interest in why people chose to do what they do. But back in the 50s, there wasn't really a vehicle for how I could go about using that. So it
Hmm.
wasn't really until I was in college that I began to look at that more closely as to what is it that makes people tick? Why do they choose what they do? And the bottom line is, are they happy doing what they're doing? Or did they make that choice based upon external factors, such as maybe what their parents wanted them to do, or what
Mm-hmm.
they thought they needed to do to make a living? And so, what I've done is to move through all of these questions. And in my second master's degree that I earned, one of my classes was in career counseling. And I fell in love with that.
I
I
like
thought,
counseling as
oh,
well. It's,
this is my niche. This is where I find my bliss. And then
oh,
when I worked on my doctorate, my dissertation had to do with why people chose to do a certain type of work. What motivated them to do it? And once they were in it, did it meet their expectations?
mm,
And I could tell just from the sample that I used which of those individuals were not going to stay in that line of work.
great.
Right.
So
So,
it's doing some echo. Is myself getting? Can you hear any echo?
no,
Hello? No. Okay.
it's fine.
Thank you so much for your answer. Um, with that said, I believe that you already, I know you do coaching, you are an author, but on your coaching services, you actually, I believe, I'm not sure I'm going to ask you, do you, David, do you teach people? You do speak at events or you just coach clients specifically?
So, coaching clients is one aspect of what I do in
Mm,
terms of a problem that they might be dealing with at the time, and then coming up with strategies for addressing that problem. And
right,
then they get to go out and practice those and give me feedback as to how it worked.
right.
In terms of talking to larger groups, I've done webinars,
All
I've
right.
done a number of podcasts. I love to do workshops because that comes from my training as a teacher.
Right. Yes. Yes, because you mentioned about the teaching and the degrees that you got it during your like your journey during your journey. So I thought like, you sound like you can be on stage and talk to many people, encouraging people to do different things for themselves, for better them for themselves. Um, Thank you so much once again. And what about the other area, which is OTA?
Well, this is definitely something for people to listen to because
Okay.
as I was growing up, I had at least one experience where I was told, you don't know how to write.
Oh,
You're a very poor writer.
that's
And
really fact.
that person, that instructor did not do me any favors by giving me that message. Now, it's
Yes.
okay for someone to hear you don't have the skills. That's fine. Well, then teach me the skills. That was the missing piece, Yola. All
Mm,
they ever did was to grade me on the product without explaining the process. Well, here's what you could do to be better. And so for years, I carried that around with me until actually I had an instructor in my doctoral program where I turned in a paper and it came back marked all in green. It was quite a few pages long. And before I even started to look at the comments, I thought, oh no, this is more, evidence that I don't write. Every one of the green comments was positive.
Wow. See?
And he said, you
Thank
know
you.
what? You could publish this.
Wow.
So it's the importance of who you listen to, that
That's
oftentimes their message may not be your truth.
That's so true, because the previous instructor, he just he could make you go down, but deeply down. And instead of that, you carry that trauma with you, but made you stronger, because the next time you present something to read to someone, like to write to someone, you just exploded. The instructor said, yes, you can publish, and you did it then.
Right. Well, I didn't publish that specific piece, although I tried to submit it, and that was okay. The important thing was the message. And then a number of years later, I started to share information online. And someone that I knew said, you might want to start a blog.
Yeah.
So I started the blog back in 2010. And every day I post, no matter where I am in the world.
Wow.
And they are one paragraph, and it's called Ponderings, Daily Reflections for Inspiration and Transformation. And it's based on 10 different topics that are very positive in nature. And the person reads the paragraph for that topic of the day, and then it always ends with a question. And so they can journal what their thoughts are. And,
wow, David.
Yeah.
Love it.
And I love doing that. And then I have the books that are related to career. And there are 2 books that I have out. One of them is called Life Between Jobs, Out of Work, Not Out of Worth. And there's a workbook. And as a result of this, now remember, here I am, a person who doubted his writing abilities. I'm now working with someone on a 4th book.
Wow, congratulations.
Yes. So it's really about how we limit ourselves, Yola.
Yes.
And how we take messages that other people give us,
yes,
and take ownership of those and say, oh, they're much more informed than I am. So if they tell me that, I must believe it. And what I recognize, it's just their story. Everyone that we talk to is just telling their story. So now I'm really excited about writing.
That's beautiful. Yes, beautiful. Well done. Wow. That's why, you see, that's why our podcast happens, to bring this kind of story, to inspire others. Don't give up from yourself. Don't give up from your dreams. Don't listen what others says about you. It's so important. It's really a game change. While you were talking about your blog, just came something to my mind. Another idea. I know you like to write, but you have your blog since 2010, right?
Yes.
You mentioned. So you must have loads of that one paragraphs that could become a podcast and then reach more people just by voice.
It would That's be a possibility.
Yeah, because there we go. We are here and bringing that kind of type of empowerment, because that is encouragement and empowerment, like that you built all these years. It's 20 years. We are 20 years, 10 since 2000, 22 years.
12.
12, sorry. Yes. 2010.
Yes.
So it's 12 years of writing that simple question, transforming lives. And just a suggestion, if you like to talk as well, which looks like, and you have a nice voice, so it would be great to see follow you on podcast as well.
You
I
know,
do.
Yola, that is, I think hearing that, what I see is possibility.
Great.
Just like coaching was a possibility after teaching for so many years. And then being a speaker. I mean, that was more natural only because when I was in front of a classroom, I was speaking. So I became very comfortable with that. And
Right.
then when I look at author, that's the part of me that I've been growing for the last 12 years.
Amen. That's
And
awesome.
then podcast. Remember when I and you and probably you and I both, when we started out, the word podcast hadn't even been invented, right?
Yes.
If someone would have said, well, you should do a podcast, you would say, what is that? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we're very familiar with what podcasts are.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other area, can you give a little bit about it? So you
And which
already
one?
spoke. You spoke about your coaching, altar, and the other one.
Oh, the presenting, speaking.
Yes.
So as you were pointing out, I love to talk. I have no problem getting in front of a group of people and sharing.
That's really
My
good.
speaking always has a purpose. You know, they have this term sage on a stage, where a person gets up in front of a large group and they just share from the moment that they start to speak until they're finished. There's no interaction with the audience. That's not who I am. Everything I do involves interaction. So when I'm doing these online webinars, they're workshops. I expect the people who are on the other end to be participating and to take something, a product away from that experience.
Right.
So it's never about, I'm going to share just to share. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I watch these long 1 hour talks that someone gives, after about 10 minutes, I'm starting to lose attention with what they're saying. But when you interact,
Know what you mean.
you engage, and I love engaging with people, just like you and I are engaging right now.
Yes. Me either. I'm exactly the same. Because and normally sometimes I need to say, Yola, can you close yourself? Because end up being only me. It's not like I don't give time to any other people to talk, but sometimes other people don't have that. I call this a gift. Like we are just the way we are, and I can talk and I can talk and talk and talk. Of course, not just talk for talk, but if it interests me and if it's making me feel like I'm welcome to talk, I will talk. And it's very important. I love that as well.
Well, you brought up a good point, which is talking is your gift. I think everyone who's listening right now needs to step back and ask themselves, what is my gift? And what am
Yes,
I doing to share it today?
it's very important. Yes.
And growing it.
Yeah.
You know,
Find the
every
support, work, and go ahead.
Mhm. Because I think we need to use every day as a laboratory where we get to
Like that.
experiment and think, okay, I'm going to try this. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, at least I tried it. And it may not be one of my major gifts. But we really need to step back. And if one of my gifts is helping and supporting people in their career path, I need to think every day, what am I doing to strengthen that gift so that
Hmm.
tomorrow it will be even better than it is today?
Good, good thoughts. Very good to step back and think about what we are saying here. It's really, really good, powerful. And David, regarding your um, your niche, who are you talking to? I know it's people that is looking to improve their lives, their careers, but is a mix uh, people, or is just females or males? What is exactly your public? When
Mhm.
you write or when you coach or when you speak, you do this for who?
Okay. So, with the speaking and the writing and the coaching, the common denominator is goes back to what I said earlier, Yola, which is passionate professionals
Hmm.
who are looking to live their purpose.
Oh, okay. It's a mess.
So
Something on your computer. That's
I
all
know
right.
it's sending me messages that I don't really care to hear, but you get a little bit of a soundbite with this,
That's
which
all
will
right.
hopefully get people's attention to pay attention to what's happening next. So, what I've learned is do what you know. Okay. What I know is the life of a professional person. And so
Okay.
this becomes my niche. I'm also passionate about what I do. So it's that passionate professional. It is also someone who's looking to live their purpose in life. And
Right.
that's where I have come to this point. Now, will that purpose change? It may.
We never
Okay.
know.
As new opportunities present themselves, I may want to take advantage of them. Just like you said, you may want to look at podcasts as
Hmm.
what you do in the future. So my another purpose may be to reach those people through the vehicle of podcasting.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's getting people to identify, to be clear in what their purpose is, and then what's their dream around that? How do they see themselves living that life?
Mm.
And when we do that, we now begin to take a look at what may be preventing you from achieving that. Those are those limiting beliefs that we have, and how to
Okay.
move beyond those.
Hmm. How that? Thank you. Thank you. How does your coaching work, or better? Now I understood that the person is passionate about their career themselves. They want to improve. Um, what is the minimum time? This is just I'm talking now in towards to bring people's attention to understand how to get involved or work with you. So do you have a you run a program? Do you have a coaching package? Tell me more about it.
So, very interesting that you would bring this up because I was telling you that I was on a call with people in Europe who are also coaches. And
Ah,
and so we're learning to identify that niche, how to build a business model
mm,
based on that. So it's really about with the coaching, what their needs are. And
right,
that's where it starts. It's having that deep conversation about what it is that you really want in life and what's holding you back from
right.
having that life. And so there's where the coaching comes in. Now, in some cases, it may be more specific. So, oftentimes, someone is getting ready for, let's say, a business meeting, and they want to make sure that they are covering all the bases. We could review the content and
Mm,
talk about, giving them an opportunity, let's say, to practice that. In some cases, they've done all the footwork, but they're not responsible for presenting. So
right,
it's coaching them to be able to step back and not feel anxious about how it's going to turn out. Where when
correct.
they're feeling anxious, they want to get in there and try to control every aspect of it. So their limiting belief may be if I'm not directly controlling something, it will fail. And if it fails, that means I failed.
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
there's
it's
a lot of
really, yeah, talking them through those pain points. That's what we call them. So, what is it that an individual who's a professional may be facing in their career that if
mhm,
they were able to get through it, Yola, their life would be so much more open on the other side
And happy. Yeah.
and happy. Yes, do you know that more than 50% of people who are working now are dissatisfied with the work they do? More than 50%.
Yes, I know that. Yeah.
And that's sad because they're not using their gift.
That's correct. Yeah. So do you run, David? Do you run a program or not?
At this point, it is individual, one on
Okay.
one. Okay. And I just was on this call and saying, so how does someone transition, make a change into maybe doing more corporate work where you're
Mm,
presenting to larger numbers of people to make a difference, not
right.
only in the company, but in the individuals themselves. So that's part of that. Remember, I talked about the expanding when you asked me to describe myself? That's
Yes.
the expanding part of it, Yola.
Yes. Very
And
powerful.
I'm going to be honest with people. Next week, I have another birthday, and
Wow.
I will be turning 74 next week.
Wow. What a
And
bless.
it is a blessing to be this far. And people will say, well, why aren't you retired? I say, I'm having too much fun doing what I'm doing.
Love it. Yes,
And that's what
definitely.
keeps me young. Yeah. And so if you use that excuse of I'm too old, I'm
No,
living proof that you're not too old.
never.
Never.
We only ourselves, we only alone put that limits in our lives, because till we are able to, my grandma, one of my grandmas, she's still alive, bless her, and she's 103. And that's such a bless for myself. Every day I think about her and I say, wow, she's not on a situation that mentally she's great. Her mind is still working. Of course, the body is different, is more and more slow and etc. But her mind still there, and she can have a conversation with me. And that encourage me, like, Yola, you don't need to stop now. No one needs to stop. We just need to stop when we feel like stop. Because people tend to say, I don't know, Yola, we are old. I said, hey, excuse me, I'm not old. I'm not old at all. I don't feel that. And it's great to be like this, the way I feel. Like, I don't say that to me, I don't feel that way, and I'm just enjoying everything. I don't know if I'm gonna get in where you are, but I hope you can stay longer doing whatever you love to do, and you carry on with that fun that you're having now for many, many,
Well,
many years.
yes. And so the limiting belief would be I'm too old to, okay, whatever. And we turn that around and say, I simply have an age. That's all. I have an
That's all.
age.
Yeah, that's all. Yes, great.
And my age does not define me.
Powerful. Thank you so much, David. Thank you so much. So we have to finish.
All right.
I would I really enjoyed talk to you. I really am so grateful for this moment. And my light here is getting darker because I feel like I'm not going to stay that long, but we are here. I'm grateful for this. Thank you so much once again, David. And before we go, I would like to ask you to say to my listeners where they can get in touch with you, how and where they can find you in terms of social media.
So I am on LinkedIn, just my name, David Petrovay. I also have a website, David Petrovay Coaching, where you
Great.
can learn more about me. And that gives contact information, both of them. And in the LinkedIn, there are links to my books, which are
Mhm.
available on Amazon.
That's all I was about to ask you that. But you just bring it on. Fantastic. Once again, thank you. I wish you all the best. Keep going. And next week, have an amazing, amazing, and blessed birthday. I won't be there, but I'm here thinking about you and sending a lot of good, positive and rich, healthy vibes to you.
Thank you. And
You're welcome.
likewise, sending those vibes to you, Yola.
Amen. Thank you. Was a pleasure. And once again, thank you everyone for watching us. Was a really amazing conversation with David Petrovay. And you know that all the information that David just mentioned now at the end about his YouTube, sorry. I'm just mixing up things, but about his platforms where you can get in touch, LinkedIn, Amazon, where you can find his books, and so on. It is on the description of this podcast. Just under this video, you can find all that information. And as you know, Women Flix empowers financial freedom for women worldwide. But today as well, I want to leave that message that David just said. Keep going, don't give up. Follow your dreams. So it's three messages already, but this is my take back from this beautiful conversation. Namaste. Take care, everyone. God bless you. Bye bye.